Hello and welcome to True Audiophiles. Today I'm going to talk about 33 versus 45 RPM records. And the big thing in audiophile world, if you want to call it that for lack of a better term, is 45 RPM records always sound better than 33. And I've always felt that that's definitely the case, but I've really never had any hard evidence to back that up. And I want to start off by, saying that this is by no means hard evidence that this is the case. But I tried to run an experiment as scientifically as I could. I want to also stress that there's only so much science I can do on this because there's just too many variables involved in doing an experiment like this that basically leaves a lot of issues up in the air, so you can't really have a definitive answer on this. And a lot of the situation is what I'm hearing, and that's not very scientific. So, but what I tried to do is I tried to add as much science as I could to this and try to weigh in on the differences between 33 RPM and 45 RPM vinyl masterings. And the best option I have available to me was I have a new album that came out by Halestorm called Everest. If you like kind of hard rock or like maybe even, lack of a better term, hair metal, but probably a little harder edge than hair metal, I recommend this. It's a good album. Just came out probably a couple months or so ago, but Lzzy Hale, who fronted for, I think it was Guns N' Roses for a little bit, or AC/DC, I can't remember which. I think it was Guns N' Roses. Regardless, it's her band, and her band has made several albums, and this one is the brand new one, and it's very good. But basically, I have this version, which is the 33 RPM, but then I also got a 45 RPM version of it, which is this one right here, which you can't see a difference, but you can, I guess, you can't even tell the difference on the back because they don't specify which tracks are on which album. But what you can do, I guess you can look on the label here, and it does tell you that it's a 2LP 45 RPM. Happen to get an autographed card with it as well. And this one won't specify 45 RPM, but it's a single record, and it's 33 RPM. So what I did is, what I usually do for sound quality shootouts is I level matched them as best I could so I could try to maintain as close to the same volume level as possible. And on this one, as I've been doing most recently, I'll play the first, let's say, minute of the track and get an average decibel rating for it, and to get that matched as much as possible. So definitely did this with this one, and one of the advantages that you get with a 45 RPM, or one of the things that you can get with a 45 RPM, is that you can cut the record louder because the grooves are farther apart, so you can get more volume out of the cut. And they definitely did that with this one. It was probably a couple dB louder, 2-3 dB louder maybe at least, if you played them at the same volume level. So there was definitely that advantage. And one of the advantages that's going to give you is, in theory, surface noise should sound lower in comparison, because there's going to be a bigger difference in the noise on the surface noise compared to the music that's being played. In theory, it should be that way. I have heard from some vinyl cutting engineers, though, that 45 RPM can raise the dB volume of the surface noise. I will tell you that I did do a quick check on this. I actually turned the volume up quite a bit on this and just got a decibel rating on the surface noise before the first track on both of these, and the surface noise was very similar. Now, again, because this is not scientific, because they're also pressed on different types of vinyl. This has some different colored, both are colored vinyl. The 33 RPM was like well, I'll show you. It was a splatter vinyl. So there's going to be all kinds of different types of of colors on the vinyl on this one, and the 45 RPM was, if I'm not mistaken, it's a it's a single, it's sort of a marbled-ish. It's very hard to make out. Maybe if I take it out of the inner sleeve, you might be able to see it better, but because it is somewhat transparent, don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not, but it's basically, it's a black and kind of a purplish swirl cloud, they call it galaxy color to it. So completely different types of vinyl, well, colors of vinyl anyway, I shouldn't say type, but felt like they're the same weight. I think they're both probably 180 gram vinyl as well. So all of those things were similar, but they're not the same. So it's very hard to really give a definitive scientific feedback on that part of it. But from what I have, what I could work with, the volume level of the surface noise was about the same on both of them. But so because the 45 was mastered louder, that surface noise is a little bit further in the back because of that. So that was, to be honest with you, the biggest difference I heard between them. I spent a lot of time going back and forth between the two, trying to and listening to the same song back and forth, and I really couldn't pick up a noticeable difference at all. Clarity was the same. I mean, in theory, you know, the high end, there should be a little bit less distortion on the high end because of the speed and the ability to spread those grooves out and things on that nature. But, you know, I didn't pick up on any differences at all between the two. That's not to say that this is not something that is, you know, it could be my ears. You know, I don't have the best of ears, I guess, or perfect ears, but I can pick up on a lot of differences between masterings. But, you know, given the fact that, you know, it was likely cut by the same person, which I don't have that information, but it was likely cut by the same person. So, you know, they're going to make the similar changes that they would make regardless of whether it's 33 or 45. You know, they might make a couple of different changes, maybe, if it's 45, because they've got a little bit more freedom to work with on a 45 RPM, but it's nothing that I was able to really pick out a difference on. So I really love to hear your take. I don't know of any albums that, you know, there's a couple of different ones. I did notice, I guess, you know, I have the 45 and 33 RPM of Kind of Blue, and, you know, I kind of had, my recollection on that one is that they weren't all that much different either, but I know there are a lot of people out there that swear that they hear a huge difference in the 45 RPM, and, you know, it's hard for me to say that you can really justify that theory, because there's just not a lot of albums out there that were mastered by the same person and cut on 33 and cut on 45. So love to hear your take, though. See what what your thoughts are and what your experience has been. Maybe yours is going to be different than mine. My experience now has kind of opened my eyes and basically said 45, 33, it doesn't really matter too much unless, you know, they do some noticeable differences on the mastering. So, but that's my take. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So I want to thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. Make some comments in the comment section if you'd like to. If you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. If you don't, please hit that subscribe button. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I want you to have yourself a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. Thanks a lot.